fifth grade, it's Mrs. Stafford here. This is the video that is going to go over 6.3 Origo, common fractions, adding related denominators. If you have any questions whenever we're going through this video, go ahead and circle the number or the problem that you're having an issue with, and maybe write the little question that you have next to it so you can remember. Then when we have our Google Meets meeting, we can talk about your question, or if you want to send a message to Miss Karleskint, I know that she'd be very willing to help you out. So let's get started. So these pizzas were left over after a party. Choose 2 types of pizza to take home. What are the possible combinations you could choose? So we've got very veggie, mostly meat, and super supreme. So I like very veggie. So I think I'm going to take this last piece of very veggie home. And this is 1/6 of that whole pizza, even though it's the only piece left. So that's 1/6. And then I know that my husband likes super supreme. So I'm going to get him 3 of these pieces to take home. And that is 3/12 because those are the 3 pieces out of the 12 that were there. So 3/12. Now I'm going to add these together because I want to figure out how much pizza I'm taking home. So we would need to do 1/6 plus 3/12. All right, so what's our first step? Well, we know that we can't add these 2 denominators together because whenever we're adding fractions, the denominator always stays the same. So we need to get these to be the same. I'm going to take 1/6 and I'm going to make it into 12ths so that I can add them together. So we'll take 1/6 and we'll put a little 12 here. All right, now our first step here is to multiply the 6 times 2 because we know that we need to get 12. So we're going to multiply it by 2 and that gives us 12. And whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator. So 1 times 2, which is 2. So this shows me that if I turned my 1/6 into 12ths, then it would be 2/12. And the reason why is because if you see here, there are 3 pieces here. This is the same as this. They're the same amount, they're just written differently in different fractions, if that makes sense. So we're not changing the amount that we have, we're just changing the way we write the fraction. So now our new problem over here is going to be 2/12 plus 3/12. So that means I'm taking 5/12 of pizza home total. Alrighty, so let's go down here. So Origo went ahead and chose different amounts for us to use. So let's go over these one at a time. How much pizza is there in each of these combinations? So we have 1/3 and 1/6 here, which is very similar to what we did up here, but we're going to change the 1/3 to a 6. So what do we need to do? Well, what do we need to multiply by 3 to get to 6? We need 2. So times 2. Oh, we need to do times 2 up here. So that changes our 1/3 to 2/6 plus 1/6, which is 3/6, or 1/2. But you don't have to do that. I'm just showing you that. Alrighty, now we're going to do this one. So we're going to change our 1/6 this time because I need to get to 12. I can't take 12 and get to 6. I need to take 6 and get to 12. So we have 1/6, and to get to 12, we need to multiply by 2. And then 1 times 2 is 2. So now we would be doing 5/12 plus 2/12, which gives us 7/12. Okay, now if you want to pause the video, you can try to do this one on your own, or you can just follow along with me now. So now we're going to do our 1/3. We're going to change that into 12ths. So we've got 1/3. We want it to be a 12. So what do we need to multiply by 3 to get to 12? 4. And we're going to do the same to the numerator. 1 times 4 is 4. So it'll be 4/12 plus 5/12 equals 9/12. Perfect. All right, so what do you notice about the relationship between the denominators in each pair? Well, here we can see that each of these can be changed to match the denominators so that we can add them together. So we're going to use this diagram to help calculate 1/3 plus 5/12. And we're going to be changing 1/3, right? Because we need to get from 3 to 12. And a lot of you guys will recognize this. We've done this diagram before on other assignments. So what we're going to do for a little refresher is we're going to take 1/3. We need to get it to 12 so that we can add it to 5/12. So what do we need? We need a 4 here. So 3 times 4 equals 12. And oh, we need to do it to the numerator as well. So 1 times 4 is 4. So 4 twelfths. So over here, I'll have 4 twelfths plus 5 twelfths equals 9 twelfths total. All right, and that's our answer. And then down here on our first problem here, we've got the same thing that we just did up here. And you've done this before on other assignments as well. Now, if you have any questions from right now, go ahead and pause the video and then write your question maybe right here so that whenever we meet in Google Meets, you can ask us and we can help you figure it out, okay? Let's go on to our next page. Okay, here we go. All right, this is very similar to what we did on our first page. We're going to pick a fraction and then we're gonna make them the same denominator so we can add them. So write the fractions so the denominators are the same, then write the total. So we're gonna take 1/3. So let's take 1/3 and we're gonna make it equal 9 so that we can add them over 9. What do we need to multiply by 3 to get to 9? We're gonna multiply 3 and then we do it to both sides and it's 3/9. So our new problem is 3/9 plus 5/9, which equals 8/9. And how many ninths is that away from 1? It's 1/9 away from 1 because if we had 9 over 9, it would equal a whole. But this is the answer, so 8/9. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and do all of this on these, and I want you to go ahead and show your work so I can see your thinking, okay? So then here, okay, color the bubble or oval beside the best description of the total, show your thinking. All right, so don't freak out when you see this, but we've got to add all 3 of these fractions together. So we're gonna have to make them all the same. Now, whenever I'm gonna make all the denominators the same, I think I'm gonna make them all 8 because I can't really take a 2 and make it an 8, or take a 4 and make it an 8, or take a 4 and make it an 8 when I multiply. So I'm gonna make them there. So let's do 1/2, we want it to equal 8. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna take 2 times 4, 1 times 4, and that's 4. So 1/2 is gonna be 4/8. Now we're gonna take our 1/4. We want it to be 8, which is times 2, times 2. So our 1/4 changes to 2/8. Now I can add my 1/8. So let's add them all together. So we have 8 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7/8, and we're 1/8 away from 1. All right, so now that we know we have our 7/8, we need to tell whether it's more than 1, equal to 1, or less than 1. Well, it's 1/8 away from being 1, but it's still less than 1. So we're gonna color in this little bubble right here. And then you'll do the same thing on this side. And I'll give you a hint. You're gonna be changing 1/2 and 1/3 to a 6 because we can't make the 6th into 2 or 3. All right, and at the bottom, this is gonna be a little tricky. You're gonna have to use your brain power for this one. So write the numerators to complete each equation. So what they did was they had 2 fractions that were added together to equal 2, but they took these 2 numbers out because they want you to figure out what numbers were taken out. So for this first one, let's see. We know that this one was probably 1, this one was probably 1, so that it would equal 2. So your answer might be different than mine, which is fine because these 2 answers can vary. They can be different. So let's see. I think I'm going to do this one to be 1. And I know that to get a whole, to get 1, I need to have a 4 over there because that'll equal 1. And then for this one, I think I'll also make it a 1. So I'll put an 8 over there. So now I know that 1 plus 1 equals 2. So those are my 2 answers. Now, if your answers are different, that's totally fine. Let's go down here. So this one, they filled in part of the fraction. So I know that they have this one, and then I need to figure out what number was here. So here, let's see, 2 over 2 is a whole. So I really don't need this equation or this fraction because this is already done because 2 over 2 equals 1. So I'm just going to put a 0. I don't need any 8ths to make the 1. So that one was a little bit tricky. That kind of tricked you a little bit. But on these 3, you're going to be given one of the fractions and you just need to fill in the missing piece. If you want to, you can maybe change the denominators to be the same and kind of figure out what pieces are missing and then go from there. So this is 6.3. If you have any questions or if you are having an issue solving anything, go ahead and just circle it, do your best attempt, and then whenever we meet in Google Meets, we can go ahead and talk about it. So there you go. Have a good day.